Welcome to the Whole Truth and Nothing But the Truth podcast. We are Patrick and Terry Caserta, authors of the Brandon Act and founders of the Brandon Caserta Foundation. Today, we will be discussing the firings of many Navy commanding officers in the past couple of weeks. Patrick?
Thank you. Well, as you can see, there's been a lot of mishaps in the military or problems. Lately, it's been a string of plane accidents, and of course, the fatal it's called AAV sinking. And the Navy's fired, I think it's 7 commanding officers over the past 2 weeks. And I'm bringing this up because do you ever follow this stuff? I'm sorry, I was active duty 22 years, and it was never. This stuff didn't exist when I was in. I guess I'm going to word it. Yeah, I guess I'm old. But the bottom line is the Navy Times and the newspapers didn't write it like they do now, like military.com and stuff. There's more information. But I just have to question people in the service and veterans. Do you read this stuff? I mean, you need to read this. And here's why. It says the Secretary of Navy issued letters of censure to 5 officers who were in positions of leadership during the fatal sinking of the amphibious assault vehicle. The incident led to deaths of 8 Marines and 1 sailor. Now, this comes a year after 4 investigations found poorly maintained AAVs, inadequately trained personnel, and failure to conduct a timely egress caused the sinking of the AAV and the tragic loss of life. The 5 officers were censored as their names. They were all Marines, chain of command, the unit of the craft. It says some of the officers had already faced punishment. And so Secretary Del Toro says this. He said that the letters were issued following a thorough review of command investigations, adding that 5 officers received letters of censure due to their inadequate leadership and execution of their oversight duties. Apparently, one of these people retired, and he is has been held culpable for the incidents. Nothing's going to happen to this person at all, period. Just so you know that, although they can do something if they wanted to. Remember, people died here, by the way. This is not like we lost the vehicle and that's it or something. So it says, this is the part that gets me, is the letters which are placed in a service member's personnel files and can often prevent them from being promoted or progressing in their careers. Prevent often? I mean, come on. I mean, I mean, if you were enlisted right now, you know what would happen to you. You're not making it, period.
That's a fact.
And even at best, that 5-year rule, that's not going to pertain to something like this, trust me.
Nope.
Not when people die. And so could prevent them. Now, that could prevent, I want to give you an example of something. When I was in recruiting, there was a commanding officer. He alluded to the fact that he was there for a reason, and apparently he was a sub-commander, and something must have happened. I don't know what. Never told me. I never asked. I didn't even want to know, just so you know that. And whatever it was, there was a sigh of hope that if he was a commanding of Navy Recruiting Command, if he could do well, he could make captain. Well, sure enough, his plan worked. So that, I don't know, as far as I know, 10 people could have died, whatever he did. I have no idea. The bottom line is, I hear story after story, witness story after story of what I just told you. That was just one of the last ones I remember. These people always come back. And it puts when leaders' actions or inactions result in loss of life or capital resources, or simply lower our standards. The senior leadership in the Navy has a responsibility to determine the root cause and hold responsible to promote persons appropriately accountable And I don't understand. They hold these people accountable for this, and they should. However, let's talk where we always end up. Okay, so last year there was, I don't know, what was this called, 500 suicides in the military on active duty, and no one was held accountable. No one. And how is that even conceivable? That these people got in trouble for this, but the people for these suicides get in no trouble. That is wrong. How do you not hold these people accountable? If you know the stories of these suicides, you will find out, just like our sons, most of them have similar stories to our sons. This is not a typical classic thing that you deal with in your mind thinking, well, that person had options and all this. Well, options. Let's look at options, just so you know. Mental health right now at the military, you know how long it'll take you to get an appointment? And if you did get an appointment, do you know, this is factual, that you cannot have reoccurring appointments quickly. So if you don't have reoccurring appointments quickly, what good is mental health? And the other thing is, if you're in crisis and you go there, you'll talk to them and everything. They'll make it a determination and they will help you. But the next visit after that, that has to be your best visit by far, because you're calmer, things are different. A lot's not going on. Maybe you're at peace. Maybe you're at rest in a room for a couple of days. I don't know what all the outcomes are of these things. But the bottom line is that next appointment is vital, and you might not have it for a month. I don't get it. But anyway, reading this right here, it says, again, we must cherish the special trust, confidence, and responsibility that comes with command and should never take it for granted. Del Toro wrote in his message to the fleet, which includes the Marines, of course. I just can't believe that this happened. And on top of that, several aircraft crashed in the past 6 to 8 months. They held a stand down. The Navy did. 500 people die in the military and there's no stand down whatsoever. None whatsoever. None. Some of these plane crashes, people didn't die. And there's a stand down. And ironically, Marines did the same thing today or something. They held a stand down themselves. So Marines and the Navy held a stand down because of all the aircraft accidents that they were having. Well, that is a great thing. I commend them on that. That needs to happen. The problem is you hold stand downs for that, but you won't hold stand downs for suicide and lives and deaths. And on top of that, you know, there's a bunch of deaths that aren't included in the numbers that you see, such as car accidents, people getting drunk that normally wouldn't get drunk and they died in a car accident, or fluke accidents that are suspicious. And commands are never held accountable for any of that stuff because it's really never looked at with a microscope. Oh, well, they're dead. Let the parents deal with it. That's how they look at it. It wasn't my kid. I don't care.
Well, they look at that for suicides as well. And look, they didn't even relieve the commanding officer of the George Washington. He had 10 deaths in 8 months?
Yeah, really 12. And what's sad about that is, what is the magic number before they're going to do something? So 15, 20, 25, 30. How many more families to be put through this before they do something? That commanding officer should not be a commanding officer. We know this. All of us know it.
Yep.
That is fact. Matter of fact, he should resign himself. Obviously, he's not doing something right. And how many more people need to die before he admits it and before the Navy does something? Well, we're going to find out, apparently, because they didn't relieve him. But I don't understand how you put up with this. I mean, I met so many people that have gotten in trouble for the dumbest things, and their career was sidetracked and they recovered. And some people just are hard chargers and never make advancement, or have a hard time, or get held up at certain levels. And you know, all these officers that they get advanced with the click of their fingers. They're not held responsible for anything, and people are dying. That is sad. And the simplicity is where I'm going with all this is accountability. That is what the military is built upon is accountability. So if you're built upon accountability, why are you not holding these people accountable? How are they going to learn from this? The George Washington CO hasn't learned anything.
No,
Well, yeah, he has. He's a master salesman because he kept his job.
good point.
I'd like to hand him an award for that. We should name a award after him because he's a master, best salesman I ever met in my life. Because I can't believe he kept his job. And then on top of that, remember, this is factual. You can look at the article. He tells a mom, he doesn't know when her son had attempted suicide twice and her son's in the hospital. And she finds out about it from her son secondhand 2 days later. And the CO calls her and he's apologizing. He says, we can't keep track of everyone and all this. I mean, really? That's what you tell a mom? You had to say that? You couldn't have came up with a better line than that. I mean, maybe, we have a big command and I do my best to keep up on all this. And I'm embarrassed that I didn't call you and I should have known. See, they never admit fault.
Right.
That's another strategy they have. They never admit fault. But they will blame an enlisted member with the click of their fingers or a junior officer. They will blame anybody they can use in a scapegoat to save their career. They will. That's just the way it is. It's sad. Now, again, I had to go over this with you. There are commands out there that operate with integrity, and these people are good people and they operate properly and people are held accountable and commanding officers take responsibility and things of that nature. But I could tell you this, in our son's case, we never got an apology, nothing. I had no letter, flowers. They held a memorial service without permission. You know all this. I'm just pointing all this out to you. They didn't even hold a proper memorial service for him.
Nor were we invited.
Correct. And they didn't have our permission either. And I mean, there's no empathy whatsoever, nothing. I mean, they couldn't even fake it. Couldn't fake it like you cared about the kid or something. I mean, you had to play the line of it wasn't your fault, of course, and it's nobody else's fault in your command. And that's the way it is. And the sad part is to this day, that command is hosed. Every commanding officer since that person, they just fired another one from there. But that whole place is still ran the way it was ran when our son was there. There's people that get out all the time that are glad to be gone from that place. They're lucky to be alive out of there. And that's what I mean. It never stops. That's why you have to hold these people accountable, is to break the chain of events, to put a stop to what's happening. You have to put a stop to it. How do you do it? You say, you're worried about your career. God, have I heard this over the past 4 years? I was afraid for my career. Well, first off, putting yourself above a human life is sad.
Yeah.
But second is, in some form or another, you probably cared about the people that died or even attempted suicide. Remember the attempts.
Never talked about.
No, they're not. And the thing about it is, do you silent witness or something? There is a way to do it. Call the FBI yourself if you have to. Do anything that you possibly can to rattle that boat and get attention to it. Because when you put a stop to them or they're being watched, people tend to live. Things tend to get better because they're being watched.
Yeah.
And so you need to do something about it. You cannot look the other way, because looking the other way is the wrong thing to do and it accomplishes absolutely nothing. And you can make a difference. And remember, in our son's case, this Jared Bros clown, anybody at any time can have interrupted and gone up to him and talked to him after his dealings with our son that they witnessed. Not one of them did. You could have been an E4 and above. You could have been an E3. Could have went up to him and talked to him.
Hennard should have.
That is a fact.
Which is Brandon's chief.
But the bottom line is these people can be talked to, because sometimes, believe it or not, you can laugh all you want. They don't even know what they're doing wrong. That's the problem with not holding people accountable. You need to hold these people accountable and make them think, is there a better way you could have handled that? Maybe next time you should do this, or this is wrong, you shouldn't do this. you realize that if somebody turns you in, you can get in trouble for the way you handled this. You need to let these people know these things. Don't let them believe that they're invincible, because the more invincible they feel, that's when people die. That just like that, people die.
Yep.
So we need to do something about that. The Marines stood down, like I told you. There's an article about that. And then it says the Navy, another article today, it says the Navy doesn't let junior officers command early in its career. It's a problem. That actually is a problem, although I think more are in charge than what they say. That is a problem. They should be in charge, and they should be more involved in things before they become commanding officers. I mean, they even say the executive officer is just a staff officer. The article says that. It shouldn't be that way. They should get experience under them before they take over a command.
It's like OJT, on the job training.
Well, they get a lot of that by all the positions they hold, but they're not doing the things that they need to be doing. That doesn't happen to become a CO. That's where the problem lies, is when you become a CO, then you deal with all these things, where before that, you really don't deal with them much. XOs deal with more than most, but department heads and below, they don't deal with much of anything. They're not involved too much. And, as usual, it's always mission first. But there's many talented officers that could take over. And it says here, such reform would cost literally nothing and allow service to identify its future. It puts two legendary officers' names here. I won't read them because I begin to question history sometimes with how popular these people were. And I wonder how many suicides they had, and people jumping off the ship and everything else to get whatever they did done. But the bottom line is they need to be in charge more. The other big one on here, it says Biden, I guess on Memorial Day, he went to Arlington Cemetery. That was great that he did that. I guess all of them must go there. It's down the street. But the object would be not putting those people in there at the pace that they are. I mean, there's a lot of deaths going in there. A lot of those people shouldn't be dead. Like I said, 25 veterans active duty a day are dying by suicide. It says here, an article says since 9/11, suicide is claimed 4 times more military lives than combat. That's actually low. When the military puts out numbers, they have a disclaimer in there. You could look at it if you want to, you'll see it. It always said these numbers could change. That means they're not accurate. That's what that means.
Yeah.
They'll say it's because there's open investigations. They're not done yet, so it hasn't been concluded. Any way you look at it, it's to their benefit not to put the appropriate numbers in there. That is wrong. All these people have died and nothing is being done. We need to join together to do something. I've talked about this before, but more importantly, you need to understand that the suicide is not what it used to be in the 80s and the 90s and all that. The times have changed, things have changed. It is not the same. Everybody still views it as not it's a personal thing. I don't, I can honestly tell you, I don't know what I would do if I was in a corner and couldn't get out. I was raised uniquely. I'll just say that. And I don't know what I would do in modern times, though, with these people. I mean, they're taking people to captain's mast for missing a dental appointment they didn't even make. I mean, how in the world do you deal with things like that, especially in the junior ranks? Here you join, you have aspiration of moving up. And now you can't even move up. I mean, you're underpaid as it is. Now you can't even get a little more money. And then there's privileges with the rank and simplicity. I don't know if it's still this way. I haven't followed it in years, but you used to be able to park on the ship side if you were E4 and above. If you weren't, you couldn't. I mean, it's little things like that. That's actually a huge thing right there, a huge deal. And it's things of that nature that they take away from you right out the gate, but they take away from you and leave a bad taste in your mouth. And a lot of these people that, they say, well, they have a bad attitude. They're not top performers. They're dirtbags. They made those people that way by doing something stupid like that.
They sabotage their careers.
That's exactly what they did. Like I told you before, the difference between being UA and late is who you work for. And we all know that it's true. And that's sad because that tells the story right there that we need to do something about this. But to sit back and let these officers get away with this stuff, I don't know how you tolerate it. But see, it's it's not a simple explanation to you on the way people think sometimes. You have to put yourself in their shoes. And that is the hard part because we don't want to do that because we honestly believe, just like I'm here to tell you, I'll never, ever rear end somebody at a stop sign. That would never happen to me because then I'd be found at fault in an accident. That's not going to happen to me because if I was found at fault and those people lost an arm or a leg, my life would be totally overturned and different. And if I just happen to be a teenager, can you imagine how that would follow me for the rest of my life and my family and a potential family, degrees, anything I wanted to do in life? I'd be paying for that till the day I die. And this happens to people all the time. We just don't know it because it's secretly dealt with. Just like the person that, let's say you rear-ended a stop sign and they were handicapped. They kind of, a professor in college told me, they take those people and they kind of just go away. They get a small settlement of some sort, they go away. And he told us there's numbers for how much a life is worth, an arm is worth, a finger is worth. They have all these numbers behind closed doors. And the thing about it is, that'll never happen to me. I mean, come on, my house is never going to burn down. None of this is going to happen to me. You guys all believe that. And I'm here to tell you that it's not like that. It can happen to you big time.
Do you think they pick and choose who they want to like and who they don't? People in commands, and that's how they end up sabotaging careers?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Do you think people pick and choose who they want to like and not like, and that gets them on the road to sabotaging careers of the people that they don't like?
Yeah, anything's possible with the way they think and how they do things. Anything. You don't know what the problem is. Person might not like you for a lot of reasons. You might be good looking or have great hair or great body, or the list goes on and on and on, great teeth or something. They could be envious of something. It's just like high school. This is exactly what it is. The only difference is in high school, they clamp down on the bullying and everything. Here, you go to the military, they mastered bullying. They got it down. You're done. You're toast. They have rank and their word against your word, and their word is going to override your word, even though you're telling the truth. It doesn't matter. All that stuff is all against you. So you join the military to get away from bullying. High school is hard enough. And now you join the military, and now look what happened.
That's even worse.
I read something here. This is a fact on these suicides. If it wasn't for the military, they wouldn't be in the position they are in. That is a fact. Think about that. They wouldn't. And a lot of these people, you're thinking they had to join the military for whatever reason. I proved to you and I told you factual, our son did not need to be in the military, and we didn't want him in the military. There's a lot of people like that. A lot of people want to serve. In our son's case, he wanted to serve, follow in my footsteps, but more importantly, want to be a Navy SEAL. But if he wasn't put in that position, they were put there, and they wouldn't be in it if they weren't in the military. So how's the military not responsible? And then, some say suicide is selfish, but you'd think differently if it happened to you. Oh, that is such a fact. You have no idea. That's where the problem lies. And the secondary problem lies is if that doorbell rings right now, how you would feel if you found out that the people that killed our son or many of the others turned out to be the people that killed your son or daughter, or even, your mom or dad. How would you feel that you could have done something about it and didn't? You need to bring this to people's attention. We need to fix this. This is bad. In 1/4 more people die by suicides in the military than any of the shootings combined for the year. That's factual. And no, I'm not downgrading those shootings. Those shootings are horrible. I got news for you. They're horrible. But my point is 1/4 more than that die on active duty by suicide than all the shootings combined for a year. And then sometimes we get lucky in the United States and we go years without this stuff. These quarters, they usually beat the next quarter and the quarter after that and the quarter after that and the quarter after that.
Yeah.
It's nonstop. The military shatters last year's record every year. They always find a way, but they'll tell you they done better. And they have all these hotlines set up and everything.
And they're happy when it's 1 or 2 lower than the quarter before. Look, things are working.
Yeah, they're better. And they're not better. And they're never going to be better until they hold people accountable.
Yep.
That's what the key is, accountability. And once we do accountability, you will see a change. You'll see a change overnight. You hold them accountable. I assure you, take that George Washington CO off in handcuffs. It probably won't be any suicides in the Navy for a long time.
Yep.
And more than likely, all the military. When an officer was finally held responsible, I mean, you saw that general was held responsible. Well, that's another thing I need to point out to you quickly. These COs that are fired, I need to point this out to you. If you didn't know this, so most of them are commanders. They could be higher, could be captains, or even admirals. And you give them a censorship and you relieve them of command, they go to a desk job. Hey, they're making $20,000 a month to sit at a desk. Now you're going to go to captain's match. You're going to be busted in rank. And what are you going to make? $4,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $6,000 a month? And you're not going to have a desk job. Trust me, you will not have a desk job. And if it so happened, you went from E6 to E5 or E5 to E4, oh boy, your life has just gotten so much better, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And think about that. Those people go to a desk job. That's it. That's it. That's the consequence for people dying. A desk job in a letter of censure that might affect their career, might affect it. It says it in writing in the article. You don't believe me? Read the article.
But not the pay.
No.
Or the benefits.
No, not in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
That guy that retired, he's friggin' fine.
Yep.
He ran from it, he retired, he's done. They're not going to mess with him. They can do something. There is rules. They could do something if they wanted to. They won't. And the bottom line is, there's enough in that article based upon that guy retiring that the press could take that and totally humiliate, embarrass that person and hold them accountable in the press, in the people's eyes. And they don't do that because, see, the military's, they always get away with everything, don't they? There's always a way to cover up and deflect and all this. I mean, they got lucky that the school shooting happens to the Washington, the tension went off, the gas prices soared, the economy's tanking, all these things took over the George Washington.
Yep.
Right now, who knows? There could have been another suicide. We don't know. I mean, we didn't find out until there was 3 in a week. So who knows? There could have been another 2 or 3 in the past month since all this started happening. We have no idea. That's what I'm talking about. This is why we need to do something right here. This is wrong, though. That's the point I'm trying to make to you. If you get anything out of any of these we do, it is wrong to look the other way. It is wrong to allow this. An officer, somebody dies, they don't care. They don't tell the family, sorry for your loss. They don't do anything other than move on. And they think in their mind, I'm glad that wasn't my son or daughter. And that's the problem. That is the problem right there.
So what can civilians do?
Well, the best thing you could do is Until they could safeguard our service members, till we as a nation can safeguard our service members, why in the world would you join the military? Sorry to tell you that, but there is no way. Like I said, I don't want our son to join the military. I still regret it, but the flip side of it is I didn't have a crystal ball he was going to die either. But on the flip side, I didn't know about, if I would have known about these suicides, I would have never let him join.
No.
Because I wouldn't want him to have to deal with this. You imagine the crew of the Washington, 12 people that they know, or even if they only met one of them serving food to them one day or something, they know these people and they're dead and nobody cares. Nobody cares. And they know that's what they're going to happen to them. Nobody's going to care when they die either.
Yeah.
If they die.
Sad.
But until we can safeguard, and we can safeguard these military members, suicide is preventable, period. It is preventable.
Yeah.
This is factual evidence. It is preventable. But the military obviously is not doing what they need to do on this subject. They will lie to you. I mean, they put out press statements. Look at all the things they did. And if you read all that stuff, you should be laughing when you're done reading it. Well, number one, I'm here to tell you, it's not working. Okay, that's the simplicity of it. Second is they're using your money to put out a press release. With all those programs not working, your tax money is getting thrown into the water. Period. It's not working. And your children are dying, your friends, loved ones. I mean, imagine that you're close to your best friends lost their son or daughter the way our son died. They'd be devastated. You'd be their friend. You'd want to help them and do everything you could to help them through that. And you're going to witness and be a part of something and see something you've never seen before. And you would just love to have that magic wand to fix it. And trust me, you'd probably secretly get involved looking things up and you'd be outraged over what you see and what I'm talking about. That is what we need people to do. You got to get sick to your stomach on this. We need to do something. I'm telling you, there's Dwayne Whitmer's everywhere. That guy, that commanding officer, I'm telling you right now, and his executive officer, Prouty.
Trevor?
Yeah, that guy, both those guys, what they did and how they covered it up, and they covered it up with their investigations. They lied to NCIS. They made NCIS lie. They lied to the ME. They lied to everybody. It's all in writing on our site. You don't believe it, but they lied and told lies to lies and lies and lies. Why do we let people get away with that? Like I said, remember something. Our son in particular, if you want to go down that route, I cannot stop you. I'm hoping that something I say will click with you. But if you still want to stand that route, that suicide is a choice and it's their own fault, then so be it. I accept that from you. But I want you to remember something. After he died, what they did, it is almost as horrible as the death. Now, nobody made them do that.
And this is to us,
Yes,
what they did to us.
Nobody made them do that. I mean, they disrespected us 100 times over. I'm retired military. They disrespected our son, our family. They embarrassed us in front of our family. I mean, they covered this up. They lied. They used taxpayers' money to do it. I mean, all that stuff. No one made them do it. All they had to do was come forward and say, we messed up. We're sorry. We learned from this. Here's what we're going to do to fix it. Casertas, here you go. We want to hold a memorial service. And we would love for you to be there. And we'll hold it wherever you want to. I mean, that's all they had to do. These people took that road arrogance. Yeah. They knew that I was retired. They found out through various resources my background, and they knew that I was not going to let them get away with this. So they chose to do what they did. That was stupid. And like I said, at a minimum, Whitmer, you're an idiot. The reason you could have, all you had to do was bring those other 12 to captain's mast. That's all you had to do. You could have saved your career. You could have looked like a hero. Instead, you decided to cover it up. That was sad. That was a bad move on your part. That was a ridiculous, stupid move on your part. Unbelievable that you would do something like that and lie and help them lie and not tell the truth and be forthcoming. That is pathetic. And that is what I'm talking about. We need to force these officers to tell the truth by accountability. They don't believe you. What was the famous thing? I remember when I was at DRB boards as a chief, I'm sitting there and people come in for an alcohol-related incident, and they'd come in and they'd be asked how many beers they drank or drinks they drank. It's always 2. and they're told that in there once they say that. It's always 2, which means I don't believe you, you're lying. That's what that means. Well, whether you had 2 or not, we'll never know. But the bottom line is it's always 2. That means they didn't believe you no matter what. You really could have had 2. They didn't believe you. You're a liar already. An officer, it's the other way around. Whatever they say, they believe. They tell you
I had 1.
it was a bad, muggy day. Our son slipped and fell into the tail rotor. That's it. That's the way it happened. No one questions it. That's it. And CIS, everybody will go out of their way to ensure that that is exactly what happened. That's how it is. That is so wrong. Those people, we need to put up the flag and say, this is garbage. We don't believe you. And let's treat them like they treat us, guilty till proven innocent, because that's what they do to us.
Exactly.
So we need to do it that way. Again, this is not done against anybody personal. This is to save lives. We need to save lives. Look at all these people dying. We need to put a stop to this. And time is an essence. As we've been doing this, I guess we've been on almost 40 minutes now. In this time span, somebody died. Somebody died. I hate to tell you that, but that is a fact. So we need to put a stop to this. People are dying. This is really bad here. That means they ain't coming back, and we know that. We got to pull together and do something. But you need to get out of your classic conditioning. The military conditions you. And they condition you by deterring your attention and focus on other things. And you don't have time to think or put thought to some of the things that they do. You just accept it. That's just not the way it is. That is not how life is supposed to work. And society dictates policy, and the military needs to get up with society. The only way to do that is for us to hold them accountable, apparently, because Congress and them are not going to do it. So we need to do it. We, the people, need to do it. And the bottom line is holding them accountable. You know how many officers would love to be commanding officers and never get a chance? They'll never even be looked at. And they're good officers. Let's give them a chance. Let's get rid of all these people that are toxic, abusive leadership, abuse of power. Seek and destroy. Seek them out, destroy. Destroy means turn them in, get them out of those seats, and let those other people take over that are better. Your life will be better. Your whole life will be better. You'll make advancement quicker. You'll get better evals. You'll get awards. Everything will change and open the door for all the people that bust their butt and never get any attention or recognition because of the groups of these toxic groups that take care of each other and don't look at and take everything from you because it's easy taking and you don't do anything about it. Do something about it.
Stand up for your fellow service
stand up
members.
and shout.
Yeah.
I mean, let it out. Anyway, thank you for your time. We'll be doing another one shortly. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to The Whole Truth and Nothing But the Truth. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Keep listening for more episodes to come. And keep in mind, if there is any military topic you would like us to discuss, please leave a comment. Thank you.